Today we are going to talk about the demonic entity which terrified me at first, but then later on I found out that he is actually a really good spirit guide for me. Today we will talk about Moloch and my initial terrifying experience with him. So, my initial experience with him was a little bit terrifying. I was walking down the road and I just had a vision of bull-like creature or owl-like creature, I don't remember correctly, in some kind of a weird dark plane with the corpses around him. Later on I found out it was Tamael and it was Moloch, but I didn't know it back then, and I was really terrified. I was really afraid. But I had some deep feeling inside me that it's probably Moloch, so I used VK Jehanum's magical chants to summon him from his blog. And it worked, so I channeled my own sigil for him then. Later on, I got an idea to design a ritual to combat pedophilia. I think that was either from Satan or from Lilith. I don't remember correctly. And that's when my work with Moloch really started to go up and to develop in really profound ways. So Moloch is really a powerful divinity, but he is also really terrifying. He seems to inspire the aura of awe and fear around himself, but also of power. He manifests as a man with the bull's head, and to me he always seems to wear either purple or white clothing, but his energy seems to be darker purple, with some kind of a really stabilizing element. So it's not, how can I say, it's not, let's say, it's not like vampirizing or draining or anything. His energy seems to be really protective, and he seems to emanate royalty. He also can be really predatory, but I never saw the predatory side of him personally. But I heard from other practitioners that he is definitely capable of really predatory stuff. So we came to the conclusion through investigation, me and other practitioners, that Moloch is probably not the most approachable spirit for beginners, but he can be approached by beginners. So Moloch seems to be one of the least dangerous entities in the Qliphoth, because he is capable of controlling his predatory urges really well, and he can also bring really good protection and knowledge and wisdom, and also wealth and transformation. So he is really much more than described in the Bible. We can talk about his connection to human sacrifice later on, but for this video I will simply focus on how beginners can approach this entity. Now, in this video I will share with you two powerful things related to Moloch. One thing will be a ritual hymn for raising of the sacred space, and another thing will be meditation for calling him. So let me find the hymn and then I will read it to you. The hymn goes as follows: Moloch Iturne Hesta Ituista Moloch Ere, Taravestu Moloch Itai, Etista Moloch Tanat, Moloch Iturne Hesta, Etista Moloch Ere, Taravestu Moloch Itai, Etista Moloch Tanat, Moloch Iturne Hesta, Etista Moloch Ere, Taravestu Moloch Itai, Etista Moloch Tanat. So that's the hymn for raising of the sacred space with Moloch. You should use this one as all of the hymns for raising of the sacred space provided on this channel. I will probably film a video about that too. So let's say the following. After you rouse the sacred space, then you should vibrate the name of Moloch and breathe in and breathe out and close your eyes and just vibrate his name over and over again. And when you feel his energy with you, then start visualizing first the darkness, but not the black darkness. Visualize some kind of a dark purple energy mixed with blue, that kind of darkness. And then focus on head of the bull coming out of that darkness. Head of the bull, black bull with burning fiery eyes. And then point of this meditation is simply look at his eyes until the bull opens his mouth and starts howling and screaming like an angry bull, really loudly. And focus on vibration of his powerful voice vibrating through you and your energy centers. That's the point of this meditation. Like, just focus on looking into his eyes and focusing on that sound while vibrating Moloch's name over and over again. If you do this meditation in a sacred space, and if you focus on those fiery, mesmerizing eyes, it will be a really powerful experience. Also, Moloch Tarashta Eterne, Moloch Tarashta Eterne, Moloch Tarashta Eterne is the chant from Moloch for solidification and fortification of aura and energy field. Now, when we finish talking in this video about practical meditation, we should talk about another thing, which is, how can I say, Moloch's connection to the Tamael and Satan. So, lots of people associate Moloch and Satan to be like the same or to be closely related, and I kinda partially agree with that. But I think there is a distinction between Moloch and Satan. While Satan is product of Christian theology, Moloch is much older. And he is the god of the old Canaanite religion. So let's be honest here. I personally think that Moloch is much older than Christianity, and he can be worked with in adversarial aspect, but there is much more to him than what Christians wrote, because he is ancient divinity, and he seems to be transcendental in a way, more than other demons. Just like Hecate, he is capable of teaching you celestial and infernal mysteries. And he is deeply connected with the black magic and prophecy and seership. He seems to be also connected to war. However, we do not have a lot of archaeological evidence depicting nor describing Moloch. Majority of what we know about Moloch, unfortunately, is product of Christian programming and propaganda. So, in my opinion, there is definitely cruel aspect to Moloch which is connected to the human sacrifice. But there is also another life-giving form of Moloch which is connected to the fertility, power and magic, and helping community to survive and thrive in difficult situations. So I see him as a mighty and dangerous, but in core benevolent god of the underworld towards his followers and his sorcerers who work with him and practice his mysteries. He tends to give bigger amount of knowledge in smaller amount of time. If you are interested in pronouncing chants I provided in a video and performing the hymn I provided, it will be in description of this clip. Keep in mind that Moloch, in my opinion, do not demand a lot of offerings. I give him my blood from time to time, but to be honest, he never asked me for an offering ever. He seems to be God who asks either all or nothing. He will either ask for enormous sacrifices which terrify modern humans, or he won't ask for anything, or just for symbolic shit. This is my experience through work with him. Also, Moloch seems to guide through many paths which are ancient and go beyond the clifford or anything we understand. Moloch seems to be much older than what people attribute to him, and he constantly guides me to study him and to research him, not as a some how can I say, not as a some demon. He always come to me as an ancient god of the Canaanites, and he always tries to point me towards his veneration in old Phoenicia, in old Palestine, and in old Carthage. And according to my personal knowledge, which is not venerated and verified by history, he is the one of the gods who helped Carthaginians to found their city of Carthage, and he is the one who helped, together with Baal Hadad and Baal Hamon and Baal Zebul, Hannibal to cross the Alps, and he is the one who helped all cities of Canaan to thrive and to build mighty Cyclopean fortresses, which still amaze people to this day. He blessed the inhabitants of that region with the knowledge of the stars, and he also taught the kings how to rule and govern. He also guarded and governed in many aspects the institution of kingship and rulers, and he presided over the royal tombs when other god of the underworld venerated by the Canaanites was absent. We do not have recorded name of that other underworld god. So definitely there is much more to Moloch according to my personal knowledge than what we as a modern black magic community are ready to acknowledge. And he's not some kind of a crazy, bloodthirsty, human sacrificey psychopath. I mean, there is definitely that cruel aspect of him. But I think it is overemphasized by modern occult literature as well as by biblical sources. Because keep in mind that all of the spirits, all of the divinities have softer and darker sides, including Moloch. So I think people shouldn't be approached by their own fear while working with Moloch. I think they should approach him without unnecessary panic and rumors which go about him. And do you want me to comment more on connection between Moloch and human sacrifice in next video? Or you want it discussed like separately outside of Moloch? I personally think that Moloch is simply misunderstood as a spirit and as a divinity. And I do not understand why, to be honest. There is not a lot of good sorcerers who work with Moloch as a god. I see him as a god. I don't see him as some dark fiendish or genic entity. I see him as a dark divinity, which has authority over many dark realms, including the Qliphoth. As I said earlier, in my opinion, we should probably try to approach Moloch through Canaanite underworld. I think that's original way of approaching Moloch. And I think we should try to reach that bestial prophetic ecstasy and create art in his name, statues, poems, swords, material arts, things like that. I think he is definitely so bastardized. And if we look at original Canaanite sources about him and how Amalekites or Phoenicians or Carthaginians saw him, you will probably get much different picture than what modern occult lodges are trying to impose down your throat. So, Hail Moloch, Hail Malik, Hail Malik, Hail Malak, and hail the big black bull with the burning eyes. Hail the Minotaur, hail the Devourer, hail the Protector, hail the Giver of the harvest and the Destroyer of the fields. Hail to the God of the earth and the underworld. Hail to the God of the fertile and the dead. Hail to the God of the prophets and the blind. Hail to the Lord of the Tamayel and many worlds we do not know. Thanks for watching and see you next time.